just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our back. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack. Real life in politics, ain't no tricks, just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our backs. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack. Up in Flint, where the pipes run.
Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the channel, Real Life in Politics, where, I'm going to give you my perspective. Marlon, I'm from Flint, Michigan, give you a Midwestern, Rust Belt, urban, urban or melanated, I like to say melanated, perspective on everything politics related and how it relates to, people in my so-called demographic, people that look like me, and how we really look at these things and how I feel, because I don't represent all of us, but how I feel about how these things affect people that look like me, right? And all of us, because we are one thing. We are one human being. We all come from Africa. We're all black. That's how I like to say it. I like to say we are all black, really, because we all come from the same place. And so if y'all want to describe people that look like me as black, we are all black because everybody came, we all used to look like this. Okay. So with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe. Please comment, please comment your ideas. I don't care if you agree or disagree, if you hate or love my content. I love dialogue. I love contrast. I love just different perspectives. I don't necessarily like to be agreed with all of the time. I enjoy contrast. So with that being said, I wanted to speak on everything that's going on right at this exact moment, Trump related, how it relates to what the response is in the black community. And then, up here, up north or Midwest, it's always different. We got a different mindset everywhere we go, but collectively we share a lot, so I'm just going to speak on, like I said, from where I come from, and that's all I got, but, so I was just watching the Romano Report again, and I love watching that channel because he is passionate, diehard about all of the things that's going on right now in this world. I believe, especially in our country. I mean, he's very passionate about everything that's going on in this country related to the climate concerning this Trump regime that's in office. And so I follow him, and I agree with a lot of the things that he says. Just like the last video I did, I spoke on how I agree with a lot of his points. And I gave a little clarity at the end of that video about how, if you dig in within my culture, you will find that a lot of these things that a lot of, I'm just going to be honest, a lot of white people are passionate about right now, like pointing out the criminal type of behavior and pointing out the double standards that we have with the MAGA and pointing out the whole like fascism that's going on in this country right now. If you dig into our culture, and this kind of like a continuation of the last video, you will find that this is a continuation. Like this is nothing new within our culture, within the black culture. This is an extension. Fascism is an extension extension of racism. And, you know, if you look at the history of fascism, they always start in countries where the majority have a problem with the minority. That's how they fester. And then what they end up doing is putting into law a lot of how they, you know, their ideology and how they've been thinking for hundreds of years. This new version of what we call Trump and MAGA, and that resembles a lot of what fascism is no different. You know, you see, a lot of the, you know, Generation Z, a lot of the, my generation, Gen X, millennials, we didn't experience what the baby boomers and the silent generation before that and the greatest generation before that experienced. We didn't experience what a lot of them experienced. They dealt with Jim Crow. They dealt with blatant racism. So post that era, it's a lot of benign, dormant things. To be honest with you, just like the whole slogan, "Make America Great Again," that whole thing couldn't exist if there was never a civil rights movement, if there was never a way to try to level the playing field or right the wrongs of history. We could never have MAGA without the civil rights. So the idea that these, you know, the majority of people that voted for Trump feel like they are being wronged, and then now we see this regime that what's the guy, Stephen Miller, I think is his name, the big-headed, he kind of looked like what's the guy on The Simpsons? Release the Hounds, the dude that released the Hound. He kind of looked like that. I forget his name. Dang, I can't remember his name. Put in the comment the guy that always said "Release the Hounds" on The Simpsons. I can't remember his name. Dang, what is his name? Oh man. Either way, I can't think of it. So Stephen Miller dude that I think that's his name, Stephen Miller. I don't know. But the guy that's been on the news recently, he's the head of the Project 2025. He don't know nothing about no Jim Crow. You know, a lot of what these new people and how they so upset, their imagination, they got to use their imagination to, you know, to try to defend what they thought was great. And so that's on, you know, and a lot of them, to be honest, they just on the white side of it. Now, the black side of it, we see things totally inverted, right? But the one thing that I can say that the white and the black side got in common is they have lost touch of what happened before them, the civil rights generation, the civil rights era, and all of that. None of us experienced that era. So a lot of how we look at things, we hear the secondhand. So it's not firsthand knowledge. We don't have no experience in the whole, you know, like I never went to a segregated school. I never had to go in the back of the bus, the back of a store, none of that, right? But that don't mean that I'm not affected by my people that did have to go, right? And so on the flip side, you know, these Make America Great Again people, in their mind, you know, I think what Gen Z and millennials and some of my generation, Gen X, they want to experience that era. You know, they want to be, and they like to not talk about race. They just don't want to talk about it at all, right? Because in their mind, it's not real. It never happened, right? So when you put all that, you factor all that, and I'm going back to my point, the Romano report, and a lot of his arguments is based on what we all see right in front of us, right? The criminal element of what MAGA represent, right? But if you ask anybody that look like me, this is nothing new. This is what I'm saying. This is what I was saying in the last video. This is nothing new. Our people, that's why we're not marching. That's not why we're not in an uproar. You know what I'm saying? So now that a lot of our white contemporaries see it, it's like, man, it's too late now. We look at it like, a lot of us look at it like, what? You know, like, this is no surprise to us that it's a criminal in office, you know, as the president. They all been criminals in our eyes. All of them, right? And I'm going to say this, man. Like, no matter how we look at, like, the Constitution, and no matter how we look at our rights, you know, over here in this country, and no matter how we look at, you know, our culture here, the majority, like I said, the majority of my people don't believe in, we don't believe in the Constitution. We don't believe, that's why a lot of us throughout the years here in this country have relied so much on something spiritual, because man, what man do and say, like, we just can't believe it. We gotta believe in a higher power, because this stuff is so out, you know, like it's so corrupt. You know, this land has been so corrupt to us that, you know, we just don't believe none of this stuff. You know, so when we see what Trump doing, it's no surprise. We actually kind of not necessarily like it, but what we do, we just glad that it's out front now. We glad that, you know, that we got somebody in office that's bold enough to just do it right in people's face. See what I'm saying? That's the thing. When you ask most of us black people, we're happy that somebody is doing the criminal stuff right in our face, right in everybody's face. You know, this country been corrupt. We glad that the world can see how corrupt this country's been. You know, this country has never been a good place, you know, to us. So we're glad. So it's like when we see, you know, white people mad at white people, we're like, man, why it gotta have to come to this? Why did it have to come to this for you guys to want to march and, you know, to get out? Like, why? Like, so we just sitting back. We're not out here. We're done. You know what I'm saying? We're pretty much done with the whole protesting, and we pretty much done. You know, reparations, yeah. Let's talk about that. And in the form of the rest of our lineage being provided for in some kind of way. I don't need no money. I need an apology. I need, at least need acknowledgement first. Acknowledgement from an official, like from the government, an official seal. Acknowledgement, we need some protection. Yeah, protection. Specific protection for anybody with melanin. Specific protection from these people that want to scream First Amendment, you know, their First Amendment rights, freedom of speech and all of that when they terrorizing us. Yeah, we need that. And on top of that, we need some monetary, you know, in the form of maybe some trust funds set up, you know, that will mature over time and pay out a dividend. Now, that's what we need, you know, and a whole lot of education, a whole lot of building up the spirits, building up the minds of the people who was systematically corrupted, who was systematically told they was 60% of a human being. You know, we need curriculum to not to tell these people are not only are you more than 60%, but you are the beginning of humanity. Without so-called black people or melanated people, there would be no other person on earth. So we need to build them up the opposite of how they've been, tore down, and let them know how important they are to the human race. Yeah, like without you, super dark black man, there would be no other man. You are the most important one. You are the foundation of all humanity. That's the kind of education that all of our people need. But guess what? It's not dependent on a government to do that. It's dependent on us to do that. So the point I'm saying is co-sign it, man. That's all we need is a cosign. The reparations in form of a cosign, just like a repost, on social media. That's all you got to do. Repost it, baby. We don't necessarily need you to hold our hand, but to co-sign it, and like I said, with a trust fund behind it and some education and some curriculum, to build up these people, that would be dope. But yeah, man, this whole system has been corrupt to us. Like this is not, it don't surprise us in no kind of way. This whole system don't surprise us. And so when we see things is going on like the gerrymandering in Texas and they trying to hold on to the House and everything. A lot of this stuff, it's like, okay, big deal, but it is important. Like I personally think it's important for us all to get out here and vote, for us all to be in tune with what's going on. I do know that exactly like how they put these troops out here in DC and they like how Trump, he's systematically trying to suppress the vote, right? He's literally pointing directly at us, trying to threaten this. He's trying to threaten this melanin right now, right? So we the target. We the new target now, but we've been the target. This is nothing new to us. We the old target. So that's why you don't see us in the uproar. We're not going to get in the uproar. It's like, bro, like, what you want? You want the Bloods and Crips and the GDs and Vice Lords to gang up? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what he looking for, a reaction to justify him sending out these troops in the first place. But what I think a lot of, these racist white folks don't understand is it's nothing that y'all can do to our people that hasn't already been done. That's why a lot of this stuff is so redundant. It don't make sense for nobody to respond in a racial way no more. Be racist no more, especially white towards black. Yeah, because that's really the only way that it can be. Racist white people, disclaimer, there's no reason for you to be racist no more. The damage has already been done. Like the self-hate that's within our community is on autopilot now. There's nothing that you can do to us that hasn't already been done to us. See what I'm saying? You can't do nothing. Like them troops out there, them ICE and they're nothing compared to the self-hate that we got against ourselves. And I think that's probably like what a lot of them troops probably out there looking at, like, damn, they don't even want to fight us. No, we're not going to fight y'all. We so used to fighting ourselves, we don't care to fight nobody else. Even if, like, y'all are physically out there. Like, y'all, like Trump letting it be known, we are your ops. They don't want smoke with their ops, with their real ops. They won't smoke with themselves. They don't want to kill nobody else. They only want to kill each other. See what I'm saying? So it's no point in putting them troops out there. It's not going to change nothing. It's not going to change how these people feel about themselves anyway. You know, y'all can't be out there forever. So as soon as y'all leave, they going to get back to killing each other. It don't. You know, it's not going to make a difference. So that's what I was speaking on the last video. It's not going to change nothing. It's within. That's what's going on within our culture. The hate is within. So that's, and that's what I was talking about with the re-education, you know what I'm saying, as far as the reparations go. Because if you help somebody understand how, you know, the love that they should have for each other, maybe that's the only way that you're going to stop crime within our community, is to address it from the inside out, not from the outside in. It's not going to, you know, it's like putting a Band-Aid on cancer. You can't help cancer with a Band-Aid. See what I'm saying? So the only way to address what's within our community is from the inside out. There's no other way. We have a deep cancer in our community, and it's self-hate. So, you know, it's not gonna solve nothing, man. Like the Jim Crow, all these different systems that affected us mentally. You know, if anybody can understand being shell shocked or PTSD and all these different things that affect us psychologically, you know, then you will understand what's going on within our community. It's all psychological at this point. And that damage has been done and it's been passed on. And it's been, at this point, a lot of the people in the so-called hood don't even know where they got their self-hate from. So the job is done, racist white America. There's no reason for you to even, you might as well be nice to black people from now on. Because your ancestors did a wonderful job in indoctrinating this spirit of self-hate into our community. So that's all I wanted to say on that note. I'm out of here. Y'all keep on striving though, man, especially the Romano Report. Y'all tap in with him. You know, we are in for a fight because this fascism is bigger than the black community. I just wanted to give our take on it. You know, this fascism will and can and will, it's affecting the world, actually. War is possibly on the way, you know, just like, you know, Hitler times. The Jewish people, the hate for Jewish people sparked the whole world war. The hate for us can spark a whole world war. You know, it's sad. You know, that after people had already died in the Civil War behind us, you know, behind money, which, you know what I'm saying, concerned our people, my ancestors, FBAs. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, man. And as always, stay tapped in, stay aware, and keep your head on a swivel. One.
Yeah. It's real life. Real life in politics, baby. Real life in politics. Ain't no tricks, just facts. Flint water still dirty. They ain't got our back. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack. Real life in politics, ain't no tricks, just facts. Flint water still dirty, they ain't got our backs. MAGA hats in the crowd, but we see through the act. They talk make America great, but it's us they attack.